all you fine people here over on Twitch. Welcome in. You are very welcome into the tavern here with us to have a little bit of a chat as we introduce our first episode of Metagaming, where we get to talk to players, DMs, and everything in between to see kind of where the idea of D&D goes for each of these people. And I am very, very lucky to be able to say that my first guest on this wonderful show is the incredible Rory. How are we doing this evening, Rory?
Ooh, good evening, one and all. I'm Rory. I'm okay.
He's doing good. He's doing good. So just to preface this, obviously as it is a new show and stuff, I decided not to tell Rory any questions that I might be asking him. So I'm sure he's probably a little bit nervous. However, I will say we're going to keep it nice and friendly. We're just going to dive into Rory's knowledge of D&D in the way of what's led you to create the things you've created, essentially. So yeah, I suppose we'll get straight into it. Now, I will say, obviously, if there is any questions that anyone watching wants to ask of myself or Rory, then please feel free to throw them into the chat, and we will take a look at some of those at the end of our discussion and try and answer a few of those questions for you. Ready to go, Rory?
Yeah, let's do it.
Let's do it. Excellent. So, my first question, most obvious question for the first one, why D&D? Why didn't you pick Warhammer? Why didn't you pick Call of Cthulhu? You know, why D&D?
It's actually a very good question you asked, and I was thinking about it a lot today. It all comes down to what I studied. I studied animation and video production in college, and we had to draw characters. We had to draw character sheets. So when I first, was asked, hey, do you want to do a one-shot on D&D after class? I wanted to gang's house, and show me the character sheet. I was like, oh, okay, I can just do this. And of course, went further with that. I started revisiting games I played before and realized, oh, that was based in D&D. Dragon Age Origins, for example, based in 5e. I never realized it until I was playing. I was like, oh, that makes a lot of sense now. Same with Mass Effect, same with the other games that I played, World of Warcraft 100%. But, and also I never had the pocket or the interest for Warhammer in general. I do now looking at it visually, but I can't do it. I don't have that dexterity.
I totally get that. I was always more into D&D as well. I will say, I'm very grateful that you had people around you that were willing to do D&D and stuff. I had to wait 20 years before I could get into D&D and find the people that were into it. So I'm glad you definitely had that. So you create these character sheets, you got into the character. What was your first character then? What was the first one you created for that game?
First character I ever played was a Tabaxi Rogue.
Oh, nice. Good choice. Okay, yeah. And what kind of game set was that? I take it was fantasy, was it? Or
Just fantasy. We were pirates, and it was just a one shot that led into 3 shots because, I mean, unless you're Dave from Edible Collective, you can't keep one shot in one.
Yeah.
It was fun. Little pirate adventure on a couple of islands, just raiding. That's all we ever did. There was a quest, but we completely forgot about it.
Fair enough. Well, I mean, any good D&T party goes off the rails, right?
You have to.
Yeah. And if you're going to play pirates, why not be a Tabaxi Rogue? That's just the perfect mix, isn't it?
Can't swim, though.
Yeah, cats don't like getting wet. That's a good point. That's a very, very good point, actually. So that's how you initially got into it in general. How did you get involved with, because I know obviously I was in campaign 1 of Roper's. You were in campaign, technically 3, I guess, from what Roper says. How did that go about?
Really cool. So one of our colleagues and one of my best friends, Kian, approached me saying, hey, do you want to try out D&D? There's another guy that we know mutually from work. And I was like, yeah, go for it. Some experience with it in the past, and we did a little kind of a one shot in a dungeon or something. This is going back 2.5 years ago. Jumped into it, nothing fancy, just a little map using preview on a Mac, and introduced to it, and then eventually it grew, and we were invited to hop into this little campaign to turn out to be a fantastic campaign with wonderful daddy DM Roper, and lo and behold, we're still here somehow.
I mean, obviously, you got on well enough with the campaign, you got on well enough with Roper, and vice versa, because you're here with us for the next campaign, which is amazing. obviously, I only have Busy from our original campaign. The rest of you guys are kind of new to it. For me, for the campaign, I'm already so excited by you guys. Like, I'm looking forward to the absolute chaos you guys bring, especially because of some of the stories I've heard as well.
Oh yeah. 7 days in a bear cave. Yeah.
Oh, I don't know that one, or at least I don't think I know that one. Okay, we might get to that one at the end of the show. Okay, so let me write that down. 7 days in a bear cave. Okay, we'll have to remember that one. So, okay, so from a player perspective into a game that obviously you were dipping your feet into both the first time and then again with Roper, what were like your initial intentions for the game? Like, was it meant to be just like we'll see how it goes, like kind of pastime kind of thing, or like, I guess what I'm asking is, did you expect it to blow up as big as it did for you?
Not a single hope whatsoever. I just thought of it as a passing thing. Yeah, we'll try to see what happens. Do it for a few weeks, maybe goes into something else, get a nice group of friends together. But no, this is literally a family. This is a community of people that I generally care deeply about and am significantly emotionally invested in. And here I am now, a couple of sessions into my own little campaign, spin-off series from C2, as we call it. Sorry, C3. I can't remember the numbers anymore.
Yeah.
And it's turned out to be something wonderful and fantastic, better for me as well, because I really thoroughly enjoy it. It's taken me quite a bit of character and personal development all in one. You throw yourself so much into this little creation of an imaginary being who has more personality than yourself at times.
Yeah.
It's fantastic. I love it to bits. My whole life is altered around it. It's 10 out of 10.
Yeah. And yeah, like you said, like you put so much of yourself into it. I think Kian said it yesterday in the after show talk kind of thing, that you put that into your character, you give them them characteristics, and it's characteristics of your own. And like I've said this many a times before on different chats and stuff, and to Roper after we finished up our campaign and stuff, it's like there were the campaign and the character and everything. There was a lot of catharsism for me within that kind of working through things, getting rid of things that I didn't even know I had until I worked them through my characters. And I know you've had, like, from obviously what we've spoke about our characters many a time at this point, and I know through some of your characters with the things they had to deal with and stuff like that, there's obviously been that kind of thing for you, I guess, like having to, like, you suddenly have that realization of like, oh shit, this character's helping me more than I thought. It's not just a character anymore.
Yeah, 100%. That has happened. And yeah, especially with C3 specifically, the change of character was, there's a lot of personal circumstances at that time. It was done for the better.
But like, I feel like that gets you more involved. It gets you more believable. Watched many a player, good players, don't get me wrong, really good players, but you don't feel like they believe what they're doing. Whereas I'm already getting that from our whole group, and especially from yourself as EOS, and like we're going to talk about certain moments later on about we've only had 4 sessions, but like there's been certain moments that EOS has already had where I'm just like, wait, that's kind of such a flip of a switch, but like it's still like developing, do you know, that way?
Yeah.
So it's nice to see as like, well, put it this way, Richard's character so far is the most mysterious. Like,
vague.
I don't think any of us knows what the fuck's going on with Richard's character, which is, I'm guaranteeing it's by design. He's done that deliberately, which I'm loving. EOS is the same, but in a different way, because it's like, you almost expect to know what EOS is going to do, but then it changes randomly, and you're like, oh, okay, this is interesting. So with that, obviously without spoilers, we don't want to give anything away. What's the defining factors for EOS? Like, if I say to you, okay, get into EOS right now, we're playing in a minute, that's your character. Can you give me a couple of things that you might tune into, click into, that gets you ready for that character?
Oh yeah, absolutely. There's an image that comes to my mind every time I think about EOS specifically, And that is you're on a walk, a slashing rain, and you're just happy with it. You're soaked it's gonna be, you're just happy with it.
Okay, I like that. So a contentness.
Mm-hmm. And
Okay.
content in the most distraught situation possible.
Okay. Yeah. Okay. No, the thing is instantly I'm thinking like, but is that because of ignorance? Or is that, yeah, exactly. Yeah, see, I like, yeah, a little bit of it. You'll have to find out. I love it. Yeah. But I'm definitely looking forward to seeing more of her. And we will talk about her some more in a little bit. But first of all, like we said about your old characters, do you want to tell everyone kind of, because I know you've had like kind of 3 or 4 main ones at the moment. What's been the main characters that you've had so far?
Yeah, so this specifically, from C3 to this now, there was Riri. Riri was my first character, and unfortunately, I didn't really know what I was stepping into, so I took a very utilitarian character, Eladrin, autumnal Eladrin Bloodhunter.
Okay.
I just thought it was cool.
Yeah.
Unfortunately, as you and everyone else well knows, I prefer to play casters. And Bloodhunter is a little bit more than just a caster.
Yeah.
Which was a bit of a problem. I was playing the character incorrectly in terms of combat. RP, no issue at all. But it just didn't fit. I couldn't get my foot into that shoe as well as I hoped to.
Okay.
And what happened then is there was a little bit of personal circumstance around it. A few people in my family died at the time. So what I decided to do was to create a new character. The way I did that, which will lead into Star Striker a small bit later on, is we did a bit of seppuku with Riri.
Okay.
She sacrificed herself for the greater good.
Yeah.
Now, lo and behold, you can't really kill an Eladrin. Celeste, to an extent. So she's going to evolve on into Star Striker and her own little thing. And the Doom, Riri, created the Uprising of Roshi. And Roshi, to this point, at the moment, in terms of her own little side story, is she's a Shadowkai wizard. And she's on a little pilgrimage to become a matron for the Raven Queen.
Okay.
Yeah.
Trying to be a champion, is it? Or
she's trying to do it as best she can, and it's a nice mirrorverse version of Riri. Because the Eladrin and Shadowkai are completely direct opposites in terms of universe.
They're the other opposite end of the scale as far as the gods are concerned. Like one's kind of ultimately good, one's seen as bad, although not actually bad. I think we can all agree that about the Raven Queen. I know you certainly will. But okay, so with Roshi then, what? So that's the campaign that's finished. That's campaign 3 that finished up. How was it? Obviously, you preferred that character then over the over Riri, which makes sense because it's more in your wheelhouse. You were more comfortable with it, and that's awesome. Did she end the way you expected?
Roshi? No, not at all.
Like it was completely different from how you'd hoped it'd end for her, was it? Or
see what it is? I never really. I had an idea, like a little plan in my own head. I had a literal image that I made of a little tree. The Elder Soul tree. I made a little image going, okay, here's Roshi, here's where she's going to go, here's her sister, yada, yada, yada. I didn't, at the time, realize where the campaign was even going to go itself. Now, what happened there, and it's something I'm still doing my best that I can to do, is I played her as if she was, the spotlight was always on her in my mind, which isn't great in a team-based game.
Okay.
Because it isolated her from the group.
Right.
So there was some, back and forth to DM on other guys in the game saying, what should I do? Should I try to do this? Should I try to do this? And it worked out much better in the end.
Okay.
But for any other players watching this, just be aware, as much as you want the spotlight to be on your character, you were still in some way, no matter your role, class, race, whatever it is, you're still supporting everyone else. And I wasn't doing a lot of that for a good few of the sessions with Rory or Roshi.
Well, I mean, you say that, but like that's perfect that you. What I mean by that's perfect is it's good that you noticed this, and it was
Mm.
also good that your fellow like players and stuff were able to come to you and say, look, what's happening with this? How is this working out for you? And it was good that you understood that. Like, there's many a player that could have taken that and then been like, you know, oh, well, get lost, I'm leaving, like, you know, what's, you know, you're obviously just jealous or whatever of my character. Whereas you took it constructively, you built upon it, and you obviously changed it for the better and stuff. So first of all, I commend you on as being a player that you've done that and you've managed to make those changes. Second of all, I know obviously from me with my first character and stuff, she was very much a team player, but I also very much understand that idea of I have to focus on my character, because I need to learn my character first before I can learn what my character can do for everyone else. Now, obviously, you're already off of the back of a character that didn't fit well, so you're having to readjust again to a second character. So I can understand why there was that kind of focus on yourself and your own character for a while and stuff. But then the fact that you noticed it and they noticed it and was able to talk to you about it and you changed it, that speaks volumes to me about you as a player more than anything. The fact that you were able to take that on board and change it, sort of thing. So I take it, obviously, then towards the end of it, that changed, that it kind of flipped upside down and went the other way, and you were helping out as much as possible, was it?
Oh yeah. She was a wizard, man. Like, they're powerful.
Knocking everyone. Yeah. Oh man, like
They're strong. Once they get past level 6, oh boy.
yeah. Absolutely. I'm looking forward to speaking to Busy about that, because obviously I was in the campaign where he played a wizard.
Yeah.
And his build was mad.
He died less than Jay.
Yeah. But then, you know, everyone dies less than Jay's characters. You could literally put like a gnome in a whole room of 50 goblins and they'd still die less than Jay's characters somehow. We'll have a chat with Jay about that one day on here, just so that everyone watching can understand what we're talking about in regards to that. But so you changed from the Blood Hunter, went into a wizard. She had what was her finish like? So you said you were imagining this, and this. How did she finish up in the campaign?
How she finished up was being mostly, of course, an evocation wizard.
Okay.
It just suited her and her race quite well, to be perfectly fair, in the tool set available. She would always typically reside on her personal beliefs through the Raven Queen, and there was a bit of back and forth, you know, when it comes to reviving anyone, because you can't be doing that in the eyesight of, you know, the dead police, effectively.
Yeah.
So there was
leave them dead. I don't want to though.
Keep the dead dead. But RP was taken. She went off to Temple of Raven Queen. She discussed with some clerics, and a little, you know, a hall pass was given for the campaign.
Okay.
For that, which is fantastic. That was, I believe, it was Spytho, played by Adam. That was his idea of the hall pass.
Right.
Fantastic.
Okay.
Yeah, she worked out quite well in the end. She was incredibly powerful. Towards the end, of course, you were hitting some really cool levels. I think we finished around a level 11 or 12.
Okay.
Which was fantastic because you're entering some good level spells.
Yeah.
But the biggest mistake I ever did, she learned Teleportation Circle.
Okay.
She think, wow, that's a really cool spell. No. You got to be in a specific area for an extremely long period of time to put the other end of it down before you can use it.
Yes. Yeah, it takes like a year to put down a teleportation circle.
Yeah, and freaking Vecna was outside the door 2 hours away.
Ah, right, okay. So had you not learned the teleportation circles of other places though?
Because we never got around to it.
You never asked. Okay, that's fair.
Never asked, man.
Every city we ever went to with Busy, he's the first thing his wizard would ask was, "Can I see your teleportation circle?" So he could make a note of it so that we could jump back there if we needed to. So there you go, guys. For anyone watching, that's something you should keep an eye on if you're a wizard. Get the teleportation runes off of the people so that you can get out of there if you need to. But it is a cool spell.
It is really, very cool. Yeah.
So you finished up level 12, so that's what, level 6 spells? Level 7 spells?
I could be wrong, of course. The Yeah, we'll drop and let us know exactly what level we finished. It was something around that for sure.
Yeah. So you had
Was-
some access to some really good spells. Then.
Oh yeah, and even upcasting your normal spells like Fireball at death.
Yeah.
Oh,
Adding the extra damage.
yeah.
I had
Then, of
Busy
course-
kill us a few times with upscaled fireballs, so yeah. I know what
Yeah.
damage they can do. And
Yeah.
so what was her epilogue then? Like, did she go off into the sunset? Did she have a nice house? Did she...
Oh, no, I just say it actually. Her epilogue effectively was she was going to go off to a town called Lun, which was in Keane's Mirror's campaign. I was utilizing that for a few one shots at the time, and what that town was, it was a remote location that the Shadowkai had naturally progressed to, like a little territory, like an island off. It just happened to put down their flag, and there was Shadowkai, there was Drow, they're kind of living there. There was a bit of a Raven fleet of ships, and she had some family there, two cousins, and they sent her a letter via Raven saying, "Here's the deed to a house. Come by." And what happened in her story was she arrived at town. They were like, "Okay, we're building a church, a temple to the Raven Queen. Do you want to be the priestess?" She'd previously worked as a priestess in Gloomroth, with the plague mask thing. That kind of cool outfit. And that's where she was left off.
Oh, what an ending. That's
Beautiful
cool.
ending.
That's a really cool ending, yeah. So she made her ascension essentially to be a matron of the Raven Queen properly.
Personal ascension, yeah.
That's really cool. That's a really cool ending. And was that from your design, or was that Roper's design, or was it kind of a mix of the both?
Mix it both because, of course, I didn't know where she lived. In terms of fighting against the Whispered One, I didn't really know where she lived, and if she didn't live, of course, her spirit would have just lived on and would have been caught out of the soup. Yeah. And sent into another body to live on as some other version, but she lived on, thankfully. Now, it's interesting though, is her sister, Estia, she became an astral lich.
Oh, wow.
Okay. Roper's design.
Okay, yeah, okay.
Yeah, so who knows? She might have to track her down at some point if she doesn't see reason.
So, for anyone in chat, if you want to see that as a one-shot where Rory's character, Roshi, comes back and has to fight their astral lich sister, throw that in chat, make it happen. Hound Roper until he does it. I'd pay to watch that happily. I'd put my sub down just to come and watch that game for sure. Absolutely. And also just hopefully you'd get the full campaign 3 guys back in. It'd be nice to see you guys actually play, because obviously we never got to see that.
That's a good point, yeah.
So that would be pretty cool. I have floated ideas to Roper about like a battle royale between campaign 1 characters and campaign 2 characters. Let's see what happens in the future.
Could you imagine unleashing Roshi in there? Your character? Oh, good God.
Yeah. Let's just say I think Busy would be absolutely out for blood. And I would expect Roshi to be the same. So that could be some hell of a fight. But keep an eye on the socials. We'll see what happens. You never know, right? So we've spoken a couple of times now about Star Striker. That's your own campaign that you started. Do you want to tell us a little bit about that?
Yeah, Star Striker is my own little love letter to movies like Flash Gordon. And, Star Trek 2, Wrath of Khan, those proper 70s, 80s cinematic universe, just beautiful movies. And what Star Striker is a spin-off of D3. What I did, I sent out the invitations to some of the gang saying, hey, you want to bring your character or someone your character might know into here.
Right.
And what's happened is, in the timeline of Star Striker, 200 years ago, as C3 ended, a Shadowkai wizard was sent off into the Philigian, into astral space, to go find a black staff.
Okay.
Very powerful item.
Yeah.
And what happened was no sight or sound was heard or seen of after a couple of years. So they waited, and suddenly a tablet arrived in the ocean, washed up on shore. a captain of one of the ships of the Raven Fleet found a tablet, took it back to Lund at the time, gave it to some people there. They tried to open it, they couldn't. Roshi arrived. And with a little bit of, bite your thumb, put on it, a little bit of blood. When we hold it opened up and all these photographs illuminated walls, they finally had a map to find this person.
Okay, wow.
And of course the invitations were sent out. Okay, we need some people. Roshi knows some guys.
Awesome. What a freaking start to a campaign. My goodness. That's just epic. That's so cool.
So they're on a hunt.
They're hunting for this person that they'd mapped out. Okay. I guess my next obvious question then is going to be, why the hell is it not streamed? Because that would be awesome to watch.
It's kind of here and there with the schedule.
yeah, that's fair. Okay, so how are they going with that so far, though? Like, how have they got on with that?
So far, they're doing very well. We're entering the technical session 4, but technical session 3 on Friday. And there's going to be a bit of a showdown in the town called Rabbit between Riri.
Okay. So you've reintroduced Riri another way.
Riri because Riri was captive of Vecna. Okay. Thanks to Roper, of course. If you give him anything in the backstory, he's going to use it.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. Trust me. Yeah, I know that.
And what happened to her, she was sent back to the Sealy Court. The Ladron Town, effectively. Their court of gods.
Yeah.
And she was given permission to live on after being resurrected by the Whispered One with some conditions. The conditions were, here's your bounty list. Here's some time gates. Off you go, Doctor Who.
Wow. Awesome. So Riri became a bounty hunter. A space bounty hunter. This fucking time cop. It's time cop. I love it. What a fucking idea. Oh my goodness. Okay.
So characters in Star Striker are now in a space western town, facing off an enormous battle going to happen in Dawn the next time between this bounty hunter trying to kill Riri because this Riri may know some information that he wants.
Man, the more I hear about it, the more I actually just want to watch some more of it. I want to see it. I want a space western with bounty hunters. Oh man, this just sounds like a really awesome space epic.
It's just fun.
Yeah, absolutely. I can imagine why it would be as well. So, can you give us any hints about what might happen over the next session or two? Is there any little tidbits you can give us?
Absolutely. So, the guys have already been introduced to the fact that Hestia is out there. You remember Q from Star Trek: The Next Generation?
Yes, briefly.
So he was an omnipotent creature being person that would just show up every now and then to piss off Jean-Luc Picard.
Right.
Hestia's doing that to them.
Okay.
Because of their association with her sister.
Okay, I like it. Okay.
Yeah.
See, this is the kind of depths of lore and storyboarding and stuff that I love about D&D, is that you can create these absolutely fantastical worlds. You can mix spacecraft stuff with fantasy, with legendary mythos and all this kind of stuff, and just spin it your own way. And the fact that, like, for anyone that knows Rory and has spoken to Rory for more than 10 minutes, you'll know his absolute love for, like, star-based stuff, like you were saying, Star Trek and Star Wars, anything space related, that kind of thing. But then the fact that you throw in these, like, Western elements and these, like, fantasy elements as well, I think that's just amazing. I love it.
It's so much fun. And I personally didn't know Spelljammer was a thing, okay? I played the alpha for Baldur's Gate 3. I played True Baldur's Gate 3. And it was only until Roper points out, the Nautiloid that they're coming in on? That's a Spelljammer. I was like, what's a Spelljammer? He's like, they're spaceships. Spaceships in D&D, what?
Yeah. And now there's a whole book and everything about it. Yeah. Well, there was anyway, but they reintroduced it, obviously.
Which, was it 3.5 that was based on in the 80s?
I think it was 3.5 that Spelljammer originally, yeah.
Spelljammer's unreal.
It is, and like, so Solvi actually got that spell as one of her spells as a last one, was that she could actually create a helm that when you put it on, it would create the seat that you sit in and the spaceship. Or no, it would that it would create any ship that you were on into a Spelljammer ship.
Oh
So I
my
could literally
goodness.
be on a pirate ship, put the helm on, and it turns into a flying spaceship.
That's
I
worth a
never
lot of
used
gold.
it. Yeah, I think it was ridiculous. But the thing was I could obviously she was an artificer. I could have probably made it. That was
You
the
could have,
thing.
yeah.
But anyway, yeah. So I'm diverting slightly there, but yeah, it's the Spelljammer stuff is crazy good. And like there's plays out there playing the Spelljammer kind of stuff, and it's definitely worth watching. And it's just a shame we can't watch yours, but hopefully at some later time we'll have this chat again, and you'll be able to tell me all the stuff that's happened in between.
Absolutely.
Excellent.
So much fun.
That's all it's about. It's fun. Just have fun.
Yeah.
Have a good time. You're with your friends. Tell some stories. That's exactly what D&D is about. That's exactly what any kind of TTRPG is about.
Literally.
Yeah. Spending time with your friends, making stories up. So we're going to get on to EOS. And I know I keep saying that wrong, but because it's hard for me to say it the way you do. But that's how you're going to get it, unfortunately. What's EOS? There's
EOS.
like a EOS. There's like almost like a Y in there as well, isn't it? From the sound of it, EOS.
Yeah.
I tried to say it.
I can give you an explanation for her name. Pretty much.
Oh yeah, what's the full name actually first? Oh, actually, no. Have we announced that on the stream?
It should be, because it's actually on our page on Flying Orc website.
Absolutely. And if you haven't seen that, guys, head over to the Flying Orc website and you can check out characters and a little bit of a bio behind them. But yeah, so what's the full name?
Full name is Ekdikisi Tinshiak. So
Which is why I'm glad you said EOS.
Ancient Greek for vengeance is Ekdikisi. Tinshiak is a Skelga for lightning.
Oh,
her name is Vengeance Lightning.
Yes. Listen, as someone that makes up names based off of Latin, Old Latin, Greek, all that kind of stuff, I'm fully with you there, brother. Fucking fair play to you, like, absolutely.
And Eos is the goddess of dawn in Greek mythology.
Yes, of course. Okay.
I'm a nerd, lads. What can you do?
My first character was called Sol Viscardi. Anyone could
Great
Google
name.
those words and you can work out exactly what it is. But yeah, so you are, okay, the Morning Vengeance Lightning. I love it. I love it. Okay. Suddenly a few more things make sense with the way she's been. Yeah. She's more of a morning person, as we've seen from her.
Yeah, she really is.
From her stance and raring to go in the mornings. So we've obviously, over the last 4 episodes, we've seen a little bit unfold for EOS now.
Yeah.
As I was saying briefly at the beginning, some moments that were kind of not expected, but like it was fitting into, it was the dominoes stacking, and we could see, okay, that's the pattern. And then just occasionally there'd be a domino that faced off a different direction for some random reason. Is that intentional? Like, is there reasoning behind that, or was that a reaction to something within the moment?
Oh, so a lot of it is intentional, simply because of the way she is and what she has experienced prior to the school or college that we're in. So if she reacts in a certain way to someone's, take for example, last night we had Dash. When he spoke to her in the morning with his normal accent, when he spoke to her with reason, she responded with reason to him.
Okay.
So she can sense, someone's playing the face, or you can sense that quite well.
Okay.
Now, of course, she, to this point, has been shrouding herself, protecting herself, and she's been very careful about everything around her. Now that she's somewhat within the group and understands who the group are to an extent,
she can let it live a bit.
Yeah.
Okay. I will say, from that you were saying about the chat with Dash, the one line that was just, it was just perfect, was filthy little thief, or what filthy?
Dirty little thief.
Dirty little thief. It's like, oh, so that's why you're a dirty little thief. And it collapsed him. You could see his face just collapse, like, oh, okay. You absolutely destroyed him with that. But I love that honesty about Yos.
Oh, yeah.
It's not to be spiteful. It's like, say it how you see it, right?
It's literal.
Yeah, exactly. Now that's off of initial things, as we've said, and as you just said there, that was off of initial expectations of who the people were around you and stuff. And I'm looking forward to seeing how that develop.
Mm-hmm.
Part of that development was obviously our scene as well, where Eos went in to see if she could do some sparring or training, that kind of stuff. Unfortunately, there was no one available, so Madriana's like, come on then, let's see what you've got. And again, it was lovely. It really was lovely, and I didn't expect it to blow up as much as it did. Like, because obviously Slate added into that, and then the rest of the group added into that, in that they came in and stuff. I didn't expect it to be quite so explosive, that moment as such, in that way. But that was another one of those moments with the domino changing direction for me, for Eos, because like you said, up until that point, you'd been quite shrouded. You'd been quite quiet, stay away from the group for the most part. Like, I think it was only the evening before you'd gone and eaten your dinner like to the side or something, if I remember rightly.
On the first step of the stairs to her room. Yeah.
But at that very second, she was just like, "Oh yeah, let's go." And I was like, "Oh, okay." I remember myself being caught by it, like, "Oh, I wasn't quite expecting that answer, but okay, let's go for it," kind of thing. So again, is that development, or is that her trying to push through boundaries?
I'd say it's not so much pushing through boundaries. Her boundaries, for the most part, as far as she's concerned, are kind of unlimited.
Okay.
So for her, it's just, you're taking off layers, you're learning things as you see her do certain things. Like, take example, the stable last night. She looked towards a whip. She was going to hold the handle, but then she walked away.
Okay.
What that means, no one really knows except for Eos. When it came to the fencing, that's something you and the Mayor Jana know. She's proud of her capabilities. She had a confidence in her that Madriana hadn't expected, because she'd been so pulled back. She didn't expect her to lunge. She didn't expect her to, go for the throat kind of thing. So it was, like I said, it caught me by surprise. Joyfully, obviously. Yeah.
And yeah, she does have a good hit. I have to be careful of that.
It's her stance, man.
Yeah, absolutely.
She's lone.
That's it. And again, this is one thing that Roper, for anyone that kind of doesn't know too much about the background of this game and how Roper set it up, and this is something I'll be deep diving into with Roper more. But Roper said at the beginning to all of us, this is an RP game, which is my jam regardless of anything. I like that, as I know it is yours as well. It's an RP game with some rolls, essentially, rather than a rolling game with some RP, as it would be usually. So it was nice for me that in that moment, because we're talking about that moment specifically, it was nice for me to be able to see you riff off of me, and then I can riff off of you. It's yes and, right?
Yeah.
It's yes and, rather than no. Now, don't get me wrong, there's nothing wrong with no, if that's your character. But it was nice for a change to kind of just have that instantly. And I think, like I said, what caught me off guard was because up until that point, she'd considered Eos to be no. But then at that moment, she went yes and it was like, hell yeah, I love it. So I love your playfulness with her as well.
Thanks, man. It's just her character.
We embody our characters, though.
You do.
They take from us, we give to them quite freely. So there'll be aspects of that I'm sure there's people in your life that'll be like, oh, I can see why you did that. And there'll be aspects as us, as your friends and stuff, that would be like, okay, that was totally a Rory move. Not that you're playing you, but just obviously them influences come out, right?
Oh, you can tell the play, absolutely.
Yeah. So when she decided, okay, let's have this fight, how much of that was Eos and how much of that was Rory?
Most of that was Eos. Those people are pretty honest. A apart from Rory, who had a scimitar. I never played, well, back to Rogue years ago. That was freaking 10 years ago in college. High school houses, magic casters. So even I am very unfamiliar myself with how a rapier even freaking works.
Well enough. You hit me a couple of times.
Probably go watch a couple of YouTube videos on fencing and swashbuckling, but that was about it.
Sure. What do you need more than that? Obviously. So that's your tip for the day, is it? Go and watch some YouTube sword, fencing and stuff.
Pretty much. Yeah, because you yourself need to act out some of the movements. Like, I'll tell you exactly how I wrote EOS. When it came out, the invitations from Master Daddy DM Roper said, "Hey, this is available to you boys as well." It was 2 days before Christmas. I was up until 5 o'clock that morning writing the first draft. I got the feedback. Christmas Eve, I didn't sleep the whole night because I was just listening to music, different variations of music that inspired me to create the character. Did the rewrite, sent it off to Roper, sent off some images, and bish bosh boom, didn't hear anything for a few weeks, and here we are.
Yeah, and so the application process as such is something I will discuss with Roper once we get to him on this. But there was a few things that we each had to do to make sure that we were suitable for this, because Roper had a very strong and positive idea about how he was expecting the campaign to be, and it's something that luckily all of us that are on here are more than well able to deliver. So I think it worked out perfectly the way that it did. What was the final count for Eos's backstory? Do you know what it is?
5.5 pages.
So we're talking what, 4,000 words, maybe more?
Size 11, Helvetia. I'm gonna say
he's talking 4 to 5k.
Yeah, 4.5 at least. With no imagery, it was just all pure text. The imagery came after a different thing. And then I made dossiers and other stuff like that.
So we're going to come back to this in a few years' time once the campaign's finished, right? We're going to look over this particular moment, and say, right, the backstory was about 4.5k. When we get to the end of the campaign and we do this chat again, I want to know how much of that 4.5k actually made it in, and how much of it was like just stuff that passed by in the background that we didn't get to.
Never know.
Like there's so many threads I know with our campaign, and I'm sure with yours as well from the previous ones, that we didn't pull on. Like it just kind of went nowhere because there was other things to concentrate on. And I think a lot of that will be based on backstories, right?
It would be.
So I'm interested, when we come back to this, when the campaign finishes up, to see how much of that. Well, first of all, I'd want to come back and see what's the bits that we didn't hear about.
Yeah, what?
I always love hearing that stuff. Yeah.
Actually, I'm gonna mention something there because you were talking about putting yourself into the character development. I think the greatest example of this is, you've probably heard of the guitarist Steve Vai.
Yeah, sounds familiar, but I can't think why.
In the 1980s, Ibanez approached him about building guitar, a specific edition guitar. What they asked him to do, because they're Ibanez, they wanted to put his blood into the paint.
Right, yeah.
So he went off to hospital or wherever, did a blood donation, 2 liters of blood, sent it back to Japan, the blood sacks. They put into the paint mixture, and all of his anniversary version guitars, when it's red in the swirls, is his blood in it.
Wow.
You need to put yourself into your character when you make it.
Yeah.
That's not you.
Absolutely. Absolutely. And yeah. Perfectly put. You put yourself into your characters. I've said on many a time, I've sat here playing in Roper's games, I've bawled my eyes out, I've laughed so hard that like I'm almost throwing up. Like it you have some crazy, utterly crazy moments, but you feel all of it. And I think that's why all of us are the ones that eventually got picked for this game, because we're all the ones that know we can feel the characters coming out. So in that sense, I'm hoping things go well for EOS, because I really don't want to see how upset it might make you. It's gonna happen. Let's be honest. It's gonna happen. It's D&D.
Yeah.
Shit happens. Hopefully not to Ducky. We'll get back to that later on. For anyone watching, I'll explain the whole Ducky thing later on, if you haven't already copped it. But yeah, you have to be one with your character, and I think that does start with a good backstory.
It really does. For me, anyways, the backstory is the most important part of your character. When you play Dragon Age, Mass Effect, Knights of the Old Republic, whatever it might be, and you read why this person is that way, and you can modify it to associate yourself with, it helps even more. Like when you're playing Baldur's Gate, yeah, I played to a certain amount because she specifically doesn't exactly exist within Baldur's Gate. I played different classes to get a better understanding of what this person's class might be like. Now, Baldur's Gate isn't the best example. It's D&D modified for video games.
Yeah.
But substantially, the A to B, the 1, 2, 3, it is D&D.
Yeah, absolutely.
Getting an understanding of how this person plays and who they are in the backstory makes it way better. There could be stuff in there that will never get touched simply because it may have happened, but too far back to look back on. But me knowing why she reacting that way, why is she not doing that, makes perfect sense to me and helps the whole character develop better.
Yeah,
for the audience.
The other part to that though is that life changes you, and like life changes you, there'll be instances that will change EOS in a way that doesn't make sense to a backstory, but it will make sense to that moment right then.
Yeah. So
I think that's the growth aspect of a character that really helps to flesh out a character, right?
100%.
And especially like a backstory is an amazing thing. It gives you, like you said, that foundation. It gives you that building block of, okay, this is why I'm here at this point right now. But equally, strangely enough, I think you can also come into a game without much of a backstory. And especially when we're as lucky as we are to have someone like Roper, who can create this phenomenal story. Like, you give him like 10 words to do with your character, and by the end of the campaign, you're like, why did you do that to me? in as equally the best and worst possible ways, because he's created a good story for you, but it's going to be painful at some point, and you never realize it was going to be that painful until it happens. Which I think is a sign of a good DM. But I think it's important to realize that we're all growing together as well, right? So, like the moment with Madriana and Eos, that was a bonding, that was a pairing, that was like, okay, we know each other as equals now for this. We know how to handle each other. Grand job, no problem. And like other moments, like you said, like with Eos and Dash at the breakfast that morning and stuff, and it was like, okay, you're going to be cordial to me, I'll be cordial to you. Like, you learn those things, and like you said, hopefully the ideal is that you become a family through it.
Yeah.
I will ask you though, obviously I'm hoping it doesn't happen, but if there was something to happen to Eos, do you think your next character might be more martial and stuff? Like, are you going to ever try and dip into that kind of other side of the character choices, or is spellcasting just kind of really where you feel at home?
Spellcasting is definitely my schoolhouse, but most of the lads in Spelljammer, they're all martial. So I had to invent a way.
Things, yeah,
I had to invent a way to find a captain for the ship, because you can't fly Spelljammer unless you're a caster.
Yeah, right. Okay.
So I had to make an NPC for that.
Yeah. Okay.
But I watched them. They're really cool. And what's really cool is Gunslinger is such a freaking useful thing in D&D. You wouldn't think it.
Depends if the setting allows it.
Yeah.
Because there is obviously a few settings that don't have guns and gunslingers and that kind of stuff. But yeah, gunslingers can be pretty sick. Is that the kind of thing you'd go for then? I
think so. If I had to, again, I'd love to do it in like one shots or some short 3-4 piece thing. I like to play around with rogues.
Okay.
They're such a nice, just beautiful class.
Yeah, it really
So
is.
good.
And it's
you're
simple.
rogue in this.
Right, we have two. Well, we may have two.
May have
we
two.
can't
It's
say
hard
too
to
much
tell.
just in case. Yeah. It's a simple class, but it's also very intricate. That sounds like a real oxymoron, but like it's simple as in, okay, I don't have to worry about having the right components for this spell and this spell, and I don't have to worry about having a bloody, focus or anything like that. But within that, there's so many variations of what you can do as a martial class. I mean, especially like a fighter that has like action surge and second wind, and then they have like if you take certain battle types, and like you can take like battle master and defensive dueling and all this kind of stuff, and it's like it becomes a lot more as you go along kind of thing. Obviously not as much as a caster, but it's still quite in depth. And I personally I'd like to see you play something like a rogue or even like a monk. I think you could do that quite well. Getting used to the key thing, like even for me, I'm like no, I can't be dealing with the key and all that kind of stuff. But I think you could play a good monk.
And we had the best monk ever in C3.
Who was the monk?
It was Kyle.
Oh, okay.
He okay. We pretended he had 4 arms because of how well he could hit and multiple hit. We're just
Okay.
Let's get 4 arms.
He's just match amping all over the place, just like
It was crazy. And he got shadow step eventually. He was like, where's he going?
yeah. Oh, don't forget I can run up walls, like complete vertical walls, and you're like, wait, what?
Yeah. Bizarre.
Monks are crazy.
They are, but when you read them first, you're like, it's useless. But you see it in action, you're like, oh, okay.
Yeah, absolutely. And the best part of that as well is you see someone else play that class and they play it in a completely different way, and you're like, man, I never thought about playing it like that. Like that makes so much of a difference. Like
Gosh, and Adriana are polar opposites, but they're, I mean, from what I understand, they're both rogues.
I can confirm that the Madriano is a rogue. I'm pretty sure we're all sure Dash is at this point.
Well, or just a thief, I don't know, but yeah.
Yeah, dirty little thief. that line's gonna like be on a slogan or something forever now. Dirty little thief.
I would love to play an assassin rogue specifically. I'd love to try it in one shot or something like that.
Okay. We'll have to see what one shots we can dig up then.
Mazel, we have time.
Oh yeah, we've got plenty of time. And we have a place to play the games.
We do.
So yeah, keep an eye out for that as well, guys. We'll see what we can do about that. So with EOS right now, we obviously have first day of training, which you haven't had just yet.
No.
You know, some of us aced it, you know. Some of us. But no, but like what, like obviously now you've seen what Madriana went through. You've seen what Dash did.
Yeah.
What do you think EOS's is going to be? Do you have any theories at all?
I have no idea. This is the problem. And a lot of the problems due to just Master Daddy DM will know. You can stick her anywhere and who knows what's going to happen. What I love is the fact specifically, apparently this is all happening at the exact same time in their own little boxes. So while the other characters of the party can't see, those above will be able to see. So the rest of the school will be able to see it apparently.
They can't just they just can't see what we're fighting. If I yeah,
it's mad.
So essentially, you're just like shadow boxing just the air and stuff. Yeah.
Swashbuckling dust. I don't know.
Yeah. So you have no ideas what you think it might be?
No. And it better not be the swamp of misery with a horse.
I can't remember if that was said on stream or in the after chat or whatever, but we did say it'd be quite funny if EOS's challenge would be to try and drag the horse out of a swamp of misery. Just for anyone watching that hasn't caught on yet, we've been absolutely teasing the absolute living crap out of Rory since character creation and since we learned about Ducky in the first episode, saying that it's going to go the way of Artax, one way or another.
Man. Well, I got that level 3 spell, Phantom Steed.
Oh, then you're just going to dump Ducky? Okay, you heard it here
I don't
first,
know,
guys.
man. I don't know if I'm going to need a scroll for it or anything. I don't know. That's the problem. I don't know at this point whether it's going to be something she could even do.
Yeah. So if it's something, so at some point, let's say you get Phantom Steed and it works the way you expect that way, is Ducky going to get retired? And if so, where to?
Well, it's not going to be the glue factory.
I said nothing. The campfire would be a better place, but you know.
Oh my goodness.
We got to eat on our journey, right?
I don't know.
You should have called the horse a popular food chain around England and Ireland. They seem to like to make burgers out of horses, apparently.
Apparently.
So I actually, that was one of my kind of last questions I had for you was, what would you like to happen for Ducky? But I guess you've kind of answered that. Or have you like a bigger plan for Ducky even? Or is Ducky just a tool? Like we joke and we mess around and tease you about it and stuff, and obviously you're like, no, I don't want anything to happen to the horse. But we still don't know actually how attached to the horse you are.
Yeah, I can tell you right now, without spoiling anything, Ducky has a large significance of importance to Eos.
Okay.
Like,
so there's a reason to keep Ducky going.
Yeah, because if anything happens to the horse, it will happen to whoever afflicts the horse.
Okay, good to know. So send Dash in, not me. Gotcha. Okay.
Well, I'm going to give Kian one specific thing of credit here, as much crap I give him for Dash.
Right.
Tiago, his character, and Roshi. Tiago had a lot of handling and help to Roshi in reconnecting with a scry, the Hestia, because she was the Astral Lich. She was under the influence of Big Badaboom Veki at the time.
Okay.
What we had to do, what Roshi thought she had to do, was go to the ruins of the Temple of Raven Queen in the city. Yeah, buckets of water. Fill up this little empty area with water. Lay in it like a, what do you call it?
Bath. Yeah. Oh, like a, yeah, like an antechamber. Yeah,
an antechamber. And Tiago came along, at the time Druid, and did the scry with her to help her. And with a little bit of that idea, wizardry magic, part of her skin got pierced and some of her blood went to the water, and it helped make that connection to the Astral Lich. She made the connection to... It was genius. But if Tiago wasn't there and Keen wasn't there at all, it wouldn't have happened. So Roshi would never have made her connection to her sister, which didn't help the gang in the end, because the Astral Lich helped defeat Big Badaboom Veki at the time.
Yeah.
So without Keen being there and his character being there, Roshi wouldn't have survived any of that whatsoever.
So what you're saying is Kian does actually have some redeemable qualities.
Some.
I can't wait to see what he says about you when he gets his chance on there.
He's gonna say that bitch Roshi, I hate her so much.
Yeah, she fucking made me sit while she was just laying in a pool. Like, what the hell was that about? Like, she's chatting to herself. I have no idea what was going on.
No.
So, first of all, I want to say, obviously, thank you very much for being here this evening with me and having this chat. And I think it's phenomenal. You can have this, hopefully, for the viewers to kind of get to know Rory a bit more, where you're coming from with your characters. Hopefully, as well, that they see as EOS is being played out by you, the developments, and that maybe, like I said, things that might seem out of pocket might be like, they're not. Just wait until they come along, kind of thing, and wait until they develop more. So I think it's a good insight for our viewers to see your mindset, to know how that plays into EOS as well, which I think is a good idea. in general.
Great. This is
So,
great.
yeah, absolutely. With that, I will obviously open it up to any questions we might have had from chat,
Ooh.
and see what ones we have. I hope we're going to have some questions available. Bear cave. Oh, we got to do the bear cave. Yeah, the 7 days in a bear cave.
I'm not going back to that bear cave. I swear to God, Roper.
What's the story about the bear cave? We need to know.
Oh, so, just like over 2 years ago, we had to go to bear cave for, I think it was a character called Metal Jaw or something like that, and we actually had to go down a hole with some rope.
Okay.
At the time, we had, it was about 7 of us in that campaign or something. Yeah, 7 sessions, 7 people inside a bear cave. Riri, being Ladrin, was very proud of her race. She always thought she was better than everyone else because Celestial Ladrins, what can you do?
Of course they are, yeah.
She was also a little bit crazy, a little bit unhinged. She saw a blue mushroom. She was like, I want some of that. So she peeled off dust on the mushroom into a little baggie. You can guess where this is going already.
Oh, yeah.
You've heard of blue mushroom as well, haven't you?
There was a few introduced in our campaign, yeah.
We toddled down the hole, further down the hole, and we come across 3 sleeping bears.
Okay.
Asleep. Our master monk, Dobbsy, cast silence. Riri's like, oh. She heads off into the bubble of silence to the bears, and she gives one of the bears the blue dust, and she just holds it up to the nostrils of the bear, so the bear just breathes in the blue dust. We now have cocaine bear in a bubble of silence. Rory runs off. So this bear awakens strong, freaking Vince McMahon, just ready to roll.
Oh,
And yeah, in a bubble of silence, and he's freaking out because everything's silent. He can't even hear his own heartbeat.
Right.
That escalated. That went on. That went on for 7 sessions. That was when Riri had to be discontinued for a moment. Just with a bit of seppuku in front of a large enchanted door. I can't remember why. That was really cool. I thought the team weren't so happy about it, but worked out in the end for the campaign. Okay. Thiago, oh my god, I'm giving the boy even more credit.
Oh, I don't. He's gonna have such a big head.
It's gonna be a problem. You know, Dimension Door.
Mm-hmm.
He cast it while jumping on the backs of 4 bears.
Wait, what? How'd you jump on the back of 4 bears? Were they like on top of each other already, or?
I think they're just lined up next to each other or something. But Thiago ran across the room. He was a ranger at the time as well.
Right.
He bounced, casted it, and exited it, and pulled out everyone else with him.
Okay.
And I mean, the rolls in Foundry were crazy. They were crazy. And that ended the 7 sessions of 7 bears.
That's...
But Ruri's body and Mikey's body were left in there.
No.
Oh, man.
So it's a case of peace out. I'm going to dance across these bears.
Yeah. That's how, and like at the time, we weren't paying any attention to the big, big overwhelming theme to the campaign. We were just going, oh yeah, this is great. This is great.
Yeah.
So we realized we're here for 7 sessions. Are we missing something? And Roper's just sitting back, just like,
Do what you want, lads. I give you the abilities. You just do what you want.
Yeah.
Okay. Wow. Okay. Yeah. So I feel it's important to do a PSA to everyone in chat. Please don't feed magic mushrooms to bears. It won't end well.
No.
Don't even go into a bear cave if there's 3 sleeping bears.
No, don't go into bear cave full stop. We had to go back to it before the end of the campaign, and none of us wanted anything to do with it.
And also, don't shave mushrooms and keep them in baggies.
Yeah.
No, just don't do it.
See blue mushroom, just don't.
Yeah. No blue mushrooms. Man, oh, what a crazy story. We got another one here. Have you told them about Riker and Beerus?
Oh man, Riker and Beerus. Oh my god. Excited about this.
Okay.
So, as I've shown screenshots of Roper, my D&D Beyond has a list of about 32 different variations of characters.
Okay.
Because I just keep making them. And 2 of them were designed specifically for Keanu's Mirror campaign. Again, still kind of a spin-off from our main campaign. He made his own continent and it's developing. This is where Lund is based and the kind of remote station of the Shattered Kai is based as well.
Okay. Yeah.
So I came with these 2 characters, cousins of Roshi.
Mm-hmm.
And what they are, you might appreciate as well, is do lieutenant. So Beerus is a lieutenant, and Riker, as you can guess by the name, is a commander of the Raven Fleet.
Okay.
Fleet ships. So they need a commander and lieutenant. And they work in London. Riker is very proud he's a paladin. Oath of... Which was the critical role one? Oath of the Ocean?
Okay.
Yeah, so something like that. Oath of the Patio, something like that.
Okay.
And his oath is just seafaring. That kind of thing. He's very proud. He's a bit stiff, a bit old, but if he has to kill something, he'll do it no bother at all.
Fair enough.
And Beerus is a paladin, half sorcerer, who is unhinged.
Okay. And now Beerus, that's Adam's character, isn't it?
That was Brodius.
Oh, that's Brodius. Sorry.
Yeah.
You can see why I
Yeah.
thought of it as because the BRS. Yeah. Okay. Yeah. So Beerus is unhinged, right?
He's unhinged because she grew up when Strahd was trying to take down the Fortress Memories.
Okay.
So she kind of grew up during that period of time in Shattered Kai history, and she's a little bit unhinged because she had to do a lot of killing.
Fair enough.
One of the introductions to her was specifically there was a ship approaching Lund. Riker was busy doing something. She was sent out in her little ship with crew. She took down a ship called a Man of War. It's like 8 times the size of her ship. She had the crew on board, and she just used power word pain on each and every single one of them.
Oh, that's like using Le Cruciato or whatever. You know that's just evil.
That was her introduction to Miro.
Cool. So yeah, unhinged, confirmed. Wow. Okay. That's how you make a statement as an opening for a character.
That's how you send people off to the Raven Queen.
Yeah. Send them off there because they're least likely to hurt you then. So yeah, I think with that we're gonna leave it there. I know the guys in chat here are saying do the voice. We have to preface this slightly. So Brodius was a character in your campaign played by a guy called Adam. He's incredibly funny. He's very, very funny to listen to. He's a great RPer.
So good.
And he has a voice for this character who has since been kind of deemed a little bit of a Mickey take of my own accent.
He never even met you before.
No, never spoken to this guy before. And then I came into the chat one day and they're talking as their characters. And then I start talking, they're like, hey, he sounds like him. And I'm like, God damn it. But I don't think so because it's a little bit slower. So I'll give you the best impression of it I can, even though it's supposedly me. What was the name of... I need the name of the woman that he spoke to in the bar. Who was the one that he was always talking to?
Oh my goodness.
Because that gets me into the voice. I can't think of her name.
M.
You know, he was always talking, yeah, because she was like, oh, bro, this is all right. I can't think of what it was. Yeah, okay, so I'll try and do the voice, but that's how I usually get into it. So it was more like a...
Oh, he's talking to Beerus, wasn't he?
Was it Beerus? Yeah, it might have been.
Beerus, yeah.
So, fuck, I can't believe I'm doing this. Okay, so it was like, hi, Beerus. How are you doing? I'd like some food, please. It was kind of this like slow, drawn out version of me, apparently. There we go. I've made myself an idiot on the internet.
His roles were nutty.
he seemed to have the luck of absolute anyone. Like, even when his rolls were bad, they were good enough that you could just get by. Like, he never seemed to be punished at all. It was ridiculous.
He's rewarded for it.
Yeah, yeah, rewarded. It's like Idiot Savant, isn't it, from like Fallout? It's like he totally had that. He definitely had that. Roper's going to create that as a perk now, just for us to be able to pick in our campaigns you watch. Roy, thank you so much for this evening, buddy. I really do appreciate it.
We got a time?
Yeah, we got through pretty quick. It was nice and easy, wasn't it?
Man, I was like, I'll just say it, all day today I was asking myself questions while I was walking around doing things. How would you do this? How would you do this?
Yeah, you're kind of preparing for it.
Yeah.
I like I said, this was meant to be, you know, a conversation between two friends talking about your character and stuff, and that's hopefully what I delivered. Hopefully the audience have enjoyed it. Even if they haven't, I know I've got a lot more insight into not only you as a player, but also your character, which is going to make it, I don't want to say more enjoyable, because it was going to be enjoyable regardless, but it will make more sense going forward, maybe what some of the things is that she does. So I really appreciate that, and appreciate you spending some time with us this evening.
An absolute pleasure. And to anyone watching who is very hesitant to going, oh, I won't do it, I don't know enough people, go to the Discord, go to Flying Orc, ask, is anyone available on a specific day, evening, whatever it is. You're going to find 3, 4, maybe 20 of us who want to do a one-shot with you, just to mess about. We all want to be Tabaxi barbarians. We all know it.
Everyone wants to smash things.
Make it happen, do the rolls, get on D&D Beyond. Just do it.
That's it. Get on it. If you want to play it, if you want to learn it, there's plenty of people to show you. There's plenty of people to help you through it. Get on it, do it. I know a few people. Gaming Melody would be one. I know she's interested in getting going and stuff like that. And I said to her, we'll get you some sheets done. We'll get you into a game and stuff. I know there'll be a few more. Yeah, as it says in chat there, beginners to experts, come and join us. Have the fun, because that's what it is. It's just about having some fun. And you never know, you might be in the next campaign. You might be in the next game that gets run. It could be on stream, it could be off stream. So definitely, make sure you come along and say hello to all of us as well. We're always interested in talking to new people. We want to know your ideas, what you want to build. And yeah, I think that's a good place to leave it for this evening. Thank you all very much for joining me and Rory here this evening on Metagaming. I hope you'll come back next week, where we will have a new guest on. I'm not going to say who, because timetables are a bit funky for everyone at the moment. So we will definitely be back with someone in, and obviously we'll advertise that on the socials and stuff closer to the time. So keep an eye on that. And don't forget as well, tomorrow night, 5 p.m. I believe, or 6 p.m. I'm sure Daddy DM will let me know so that I can correct that before we actually go offline. He will be back tomorrow, going through some more tutorials to do with anything to do with Discord, Foundry, whatever. 5 p.m. GMT +1. There we go. So 5 p.m. tomorrow, back on this channel. Roper will be back with some tutorials on Foundry, Discord, all those kinds of things. I know he's helped me a lot fix up my Discord, and he's going to be doing that going forward as well with me. And obviously, if you come over to the Flying Orc Discord, you can see how absolutely immaculate it is. So much so it makes mine look really drab, and I'm so looking forward to getting mine looking better because of it. So come and see him. Come and say hello to him. Give him your questions. He'll be more than happy to answer. I know he will. And I think we're going to head off this evening now then, and we're going to go and raid, I believe. Who are we going to go and raid off tonight? Wonder if...
you see?
Are we going to go over and get Emerald Collective? I think that'd be a great one, wouldn't it? What did we just say in the chat here? EC, absolutely. Okay, so guys, from one group of amazing D&D players and DMs to another, let's go and say hello to Emerald Collective. Make sure you give them a massive, and we've decided actually, or maybe not decided, but I suggested that whenever we go in raiding, we just go in with a massive raid. So make sure you shout that in the chat once we get in there, and show them some love from us, all right? Thank you very much, guys. We love you all, and we'll see you hopefully tomorrow.
catch you later.